Hello everyone, and welcome to the AmRRON Communications channel. In this video, I am going to be covering JS8Call, the weak signal mode software, and how to download it and set it up for AmRRON operations. We're not going to waste any time. Let's get right to it. All right, JS8Call, setup and operation. But first, let me talk about what JS8Call is, some of its strengths, and we're going to identify a couple of its weaknesses as well. It does have some limitations that you need to know about. JS8Call is a weak signal mode software that you can download, install, and set up for AmRRON operations. We're going to talk about those settings. JS8Call was, when it came out about 4 or 5 years ago, it was really the solution to some issues that we were facing on the air. When you get your station up on the air, you're staring at your station wondering who is out there on the air right now. And before, it was just, hey, is anybody there? Can anybody hear me? And if somebody wasn't at their station, they wouldn't know that you were calling out at all. This works whether you are at your station or not, and replies and acknowledgments are automated, including handling of messages. We wanted to know who is out there. When I get on the air, I need to know what stations are out there. What's my signal path quality and the strength to each of the stations that I can hear or who can hear me? Do I have a message waiting for me to be retrieved? Can I get a message from point A to point B? And if I can't directly get a message from point A to point B, what would be the best path to relay through other stations to get my message to its intended destination? Who can hear whom? And who can that station have a great path, and who do they hear? Who do they have a great path to that I could relay through? So some of the benefits of JS8Call. It is a cross-platform free software that can install on Raspberry Pi, Linux, and Windows. And for our Linux users, we have the AmRRON Linux build script. You run this script, it installs all of the radio software and security software that AmRRON operators use. It also includes JS8Call has weak signal. It is a weak signal mode. It's ideal for poor band conditions or when running low power, or both. Very similar performance to CW, Morse code. Low power reaches a long way, even in some of the worst conditions. It's common to hear reports of operators making confirmed contacts several hundred miles away with just 1 watt or a half a watt. JS8Call also has built-in ensured accuracy of your message. Also, you can send and receive messages to and from individual stations or groups, keyboard to keyboard. You have the ability to send queries with acknowledgments and automatic replies, such as signal reports. How is my signal? To individuals or groups. You can have a group, everybody in a group respond with their signal report to you. So you don't have to ping each individual station separately. Stations heard query to another station. What stations are you hearing? You can relay messages through other stations. Storing and retrieving messages that you didn't receive because you were off the air. Station information from other stations. You can query that, and including their stat rep. And JS8Call feeds ComStat, which is going to be covered in upcoming videos, which is a dashboard with map for you to display all of the stat reps that you've copied. And it has quite a few more features than that, but that's the foundation of ComStat. And finally, you can receive messages from multiple different stations simultaneously because all of these stations are offset on the waterfall. You don't have to be on the exact same spot on the waterfall like in FLDIGI, where if you are off on a different place on the waterfall, you miss that traffic. With JS8Call, you can hear 4, 5, 6, 9 stations all transmitting and decode what they're transmitting simultaneously, so long as they're at a different place on the waterfall. JS8Call does have some limitations, though. There are two main things that are related to its accuracy of the data, which limits its use. A, it is very slow. It's comparable to CW, Morse code, and it's not at all suitable for sending large amounts of traffic. It's best used for very short messages, such as a sentence at most. It's not suitable for sending any kind of comprehensive report. Brevity is the key with JS8Call. An AmRRON intelligence brief, which might take 4 to 6 minutes over FLDIGI, FL message, and FLAMP, could take 30 to 40 minutes in JS8Call, which makes it impractical for large amounts of news, reports, intelligence, or other traffic. And B, time synchronization. I have no idea how this works, but I know it works. While we're in a grid up situation, our computers are all synchronized via the internet. JS8Call uses time synchronization for its accuracy. But in a grid down situation without internet, every computer will begin to time drift to varying degrees. If you're more than a second and a half, 1500 milliseconds off from another station, you'll begin to have decoding issues. And much farther off, you'll get zero decode. This is why many of our operators use GPS dongles for time synchronization. But if GPS spoofing is taking place in the region by malign actors, or if you don't have a GPS, or you lose it, or you break it, you can manually adjust your time delta. This is what AmRRON operators have trained for. Now let's go to the JS8Call website. Now, JS8Call is kind of a fork off of FT8, and JS is Jordan Scherer, the developer. And the guy has done an amazing job with this, developing this and maintaining this. And we're so grateful for the work that he's done, because this has turned out to be just quite an amazing tool. So here's the website, and I strongly encourage you, there's Jordan Scherer right there giving a presentation on JS8Call. I would recommend watching that and learning more about it. But all of the information here will help give you a really good understanding of JS8Call. We'll get to the download here in just a moment, but something you'll see toward the bottom are the JS8Call calling frequencies. These are built in by default to JS8Call when you download them. These are not the AmRRON operating frequencies. I'll talk about how to add those in the setup. So go to the download page and find the version that you have. Oh, they do have Mac. Okay, good. So they've got Mac, which we don't recommend for ham radio for numerous reasons. We're strong proponents of the Linux operating system, but we know many of you are on Windows, and just click on the exe file and download that. I strongly recommend downloading the JS8Call guide. There is just some great information, a wealth of information. A lot of work has gone into this. It includes screenshots, your setup. It goes more into depth on your time synchronization, your setup, and what each of these different features actually do inside, the purpose behind a lot of these features. We don't even use many of the features that are built into this, but it is a really helpful guide. Add this to your library. Make sure you download it. And then double click on the executable and follow the prompts and the defaults and set up JS8Call. It will prompt you to open it, and we'll go through the setup right now. Okay, if you haven't set it up, when you open up JS8Call, it will have the settings box window open here for you. Make sure that you put the JS8Call program on your desktop, so you can just double click and open it. Someone asked if I could make the cursor larger and easier to see, so I made it big and fat, and hopefully you can see that just fine. But let's go through this setting. First of all, you're going to set up your station. Now, you have to be licensed to transmit on this, on the HF bands, but you don't have to be licensed to download this software and set it up for monitoring, for listening, because you'll gain a lot of information, a lot of intel out there, even if you're not a licensed ham. Right now, I have this literally connected to a shortwave radio receiver, the Malahit, the same one that I've shown in previous videos. Okay, so it's going to prompt you for your call sign. If you do have a call sign, you can leave it at N0CALL if you're not going to be transmitting. But if you are, we'll go ahead and use our routine fictitious WXYZ. There we go. So there's our call sign. Your Maidenhead grid locator, you can get just by going on the internet and typing in Maidenhead grid square locator. There's several websites with maps. You zoom into your area, find out where you are located, and I'll put in DN, let's see, 17AB. And that'll be our Maidenhead for this setup. Call sign groups. For sending to a group, you can direct it to a group, and we're going to add right now, you have to add the @ symbol, and then AmRRON, @AmRRON, that's the group. So when somebody says, hey, I have a message for @AmRRON, you'll get a black flag next to that station's call sign over here on the right, indicating that there is a message that has not been read yet. We also recommend do not participate in the all call group, because that is a group that you can call all call. Hey, anybody and everybody with JS8Call that's on the air, this is for you. And so we opt out of that. You can leave the top two just like they are by default. Info, this is where you can send info about your station. Maybe you're going to be away until X amount of time, or you have something else, maybe like also running FLDIGI, FL message, and VeraC. So somebody querying your station info, they know that there's something, a piece of information you want other people on the air to know about. Your station status is where we put our stat rep. And this is where you can put an abbreviated stat rep, reference your signal's operating instructions on abbreviated stat reps. If nothing is out, everything's green, there are no outages or disruptions, you can just simply put WA and DN17, your grid square, and G. Everything's green. And we'll just leave it like that. That's your abbreviated stat rep. No disruptions. Behavior. So the next tab over, from station to behavior. So go ahead and select display distance in miles. And these you can leave pretty much at their defaults. Aging. Remove call signs from call activity after I think it's 30 minutes by default. You can change these to maximum 1400 minutes. I like to see the history of the stations that I have heard for as long as possible, and so I changed that to 1400 minutes. Remove messages from the band activity after I changed that to 1400 minutes. But that can also really pile up. So if that starts to happen, you can change that to 60 minutes, 120 minutes. That's up to you. Everything else you can pretty much leave like it is. Networking and auto reply. This is very important. The heartbeat, which is their term for beaconing, but their heartbeat, you want to allow heartbeat transmissions outside of the 500 to 1000. The reason why is because our waterfall designation protocol is for 1900 to 2500 hertz on the waterfall. 500 to 1000 hertz will put you basically right in there with the FLDIGI portion of the waterfall, and it would cause interference. So be sure to check to allow heartbeat transmissions outside of that area. And you can leave these at default. If you run into problems with maybe a malicious station out there, somebody that's causing problems, you can add the stations only that you want to reply to, or you can add a station here to never auto reply to X station. And your idle timeout, disable auto reply after 30 minutes of activity. I usually increase that to say 300 minutes, just so I can be gone if I'm away from my station. Let's say for the day, I'm traveling, I'm going to meetings and things like that. This will continue to auto reply while I'm gone when people are putting out their heartbeats or querying, putting out SNR reports. Next, go to radio, and you should be in Vox unless you are running rig control. I'm not going to get into rig control settings right now, but for external sound cards such as a DigiRig or Signal Link, or if you're using one of those audio adapters like I am right now with the USB mic in, I'll leave this at Vox. Rig should be none in that case. Audio, this is where you want to point to your USB headphone set, which is USB, just like in FLDIGI. From your drop-down menu, make sure you select USB. If you're using an external sound card like FLDIGI or Signal Link, make sure you select your USB audio device from here. These you can learn about later and set them to your preference, but otherwise leave them on the default settings. Reporting, very important. We turn reporting off. What this does is reports to PSK Reporter all the stations that you heard. And there are a lot of folks that are not comfortable with that. If somebody wants to know who's on the air, they can get on the radio and get on the air. So if you forget, you will be reminded by somebody out there, either directly over the radio or on one of our channels like the Telegram channel or the ZNet. Folks will be putting out reminders periodically. This spot over here, you want to make sure is turned off. That should not be green. So uncheck that and make sure that these are unchecked as well. Next, frequencies. As I mentioned, these are the calling frequencies for JS8Call. It's kind of fun, especially when you first set this up. Go to these frequencies that are included here and listen and watch for all the activity. It will really give you a good introduction to the type of activity that's taking place in JS8Call. But you'll also get that very similar experience on the AmRRON frequencies. So to add the AmRRON frequencies, and what this does is it allows you to just click over here on the frequency portion of JS8Call, and a drop-down menu will appear, and you can select the frequency that you want to listen to. Now, if you're not running rig control, this does nothing for controlling your radio. You still have to manually change the frequency on your radio. But what this does do is logs your activity. So when you go and review your logs, you can see what band you heard what station on, and how good of a path you had with them. This is really good for log purposes, especially when you're trying to kind of analyze it and determine what the best path from here to Arizona is at this time of day. Well, you've seen a lot of success on the 40-meter band, so you can just double click and to the frequency you're going to be on to log that information that will be useful to you. But to add those, whether you're using rig control or not, just simply hover over, let's say the 80-meter band, 3578 is their calling frequency. You're going to right click, you're going to insert, and then mode, JS8Call, and frequency 3.588. 3.588. Click OK, and you can see it's added that to the 80-meter frequency. Go to the 40-meter frequency and put in the AmRRON frequency for 40 meters, and we're going to insert, and we're going to add 7.110. Click OK, and now it's added 7.110. And we're going to do the same thing for 20 meters. Click on it so it highlights, then right click, insert, and we're going to change this to 14.110. Click OK. Everything looks good. Now we go ahead and click OK. So now when you go up here to the frequency, you click on that. There's your drop-down menu, and there's your AmRRON frequency, 7.110. Good to go. Let's return to our settings here. So we have our frequencies, reporting covered, saved messages, not worried about that. Notifications, leave all of this at default right now until you learn more about JS8Call. You start to become familiar with it. Then you can branch out and explore with some of these other features. But this is mainly what you're looking for right here, what we've covered. Okay, we click OK and close it. All right, I'll just give you a quick tour of the JS8Call front end. Up over here on the far right is your calls heard window. You can customize what's viewable here, and this will show you a list of the FCC call sign, how long it's been since you've heard them, the signal strength of their signal, and then where they were located on the waterfall. And there's another one that I strongly recommend, and let's show columns. And from this drop-down menu, by the way, you go up to this header where all the column names are and right-click. Let's go to show columns, and let's add time delta. There we go. Here's the time delta. So this tells you that that station was 2,099 milliseconds off, or just a little over 2 seconds off, so you wouldn't be able to decode that. Now, these are not real call signs. It's gibberish that's been picked up from just ambient noise, and we're going to talk about the setting to adjust that so that doesn't happen. But this orange box, kind of yellowish orange box here, this is your station activity, stations you've heard, and this will show in red what you've transmitted, and in black what you've heard from other stations. And it just is a running list of all of the activity that you've seen on the air. And then over on the left is your messages, and these don't have to be directed to or by you. This is everything that all the other stations on the air are sending back and forth. If they write, hey, Joe, how are you today? And he says, hey, Bill, I'm fine. How are you? All that's displayed right here so you can see what's going on. Really helpful when there's a lot of information being passed. Hey, everybody, this bridge is out. Hey, everybody, we're switching to a different frequency for the next net. You'll see the individual station and what they have transmitted across this running messages field right here. Now, Up here, of course, is your call sign, Zulu time or UTC time, and the date, which is also the Zulu date. Be mindful of that. Up here is your frequency list that we already pointed out and talked about. And over here are your controls where you can stop transmitting by clicking it. If you want to activate it and click on it, it will turn green. So if for some reason you don't want to transmit, for example, while there's a scheduled net taking place, don't transmit. And also don't call for SNR reports and other queries while a scheduled net is taking place, because it will cause interference for most of the other stations that are on the air if they have a really good copy on you. So if there's traffic being passed, a net that's taking place right there, go ahead and uncheck that so you don't even inadvertently transmit. It could be someone else who doesn't know putting out a SNR query, and then your station automatically responds. So otherwise, during just normal ops, there's not a scheduled net taking place. Leave that as green. Make sure spot is turned off. Log. The log is if you want to log a contact, which also can be done here. You click on a station so it's highlighted, right click and click log right there. This window will pop up, prompting you to log that station. And then you can say, this is Joe from Missouri. At least that's what I do. So then I can just add that to the log. So in the future, when I see his call sign come up, I can say, oh, that's Joe from Missouri. And right on down the line, you can easily look up those call signs and add information to you. Maybe, oh, this is the same guy that was the NCS. Put a little note. He's my regular NCS. So you can get familiar with other stations and things that are helpful as you build up your personal network and you start learning who the operators are operating in your area. So you can add those things there. Now these are not real call signs. This is gibberish that's been picked up. And let's talk about that setting right now. So decoder sensitivity is what contributes to that. Typically 2 decode passes is plenty for you to pick up real signals without picking up the erroneous information that the software program is trying to make sense of, and it starts filling stuff in that's not even real stations transmitting, which will appear up here and up here. So you want to get rid of all that. After you make that setting adjustment, right click and then clear all. It will clear everything. Yes. Everything you type and send out is right here. So this is a test message. And then as soon as you hit return, it will start to transmit that at 15-second intervals. See these hash lines down here? These are 15-second intervals. See the green bar going across? That is 1-second intervals all the way up to 15 seconds. This will transmit for 15 seconds, stop, send the next set of characters. It will take 15 seconds. And where that hash line is, that's what you need to be synchronized with other stations that are transmitting. So let's go down here and take a look. Oh, by the way, all of these windows are adjustable. So if you want to see more data that's in one or the other, you can move these up and down. If there's activity you just want to see more of, then you can move these to take a better look at a whole string of information there, and then you can move it back at your leisure. Okay, down here you have 3 buttons: control, display, and timing. The first thing we're going to do is hit control. This regulates where you are going to be transmitting on the waterfall, and it will determine how much of the waterfall that you see in your display settings. But you want to be between 1900 and 2500 on the waterfall. That's the designated space on the waterfall for JS8 activity. Because the beauty of JS8Call is that you can receive and decode multiple stations simultaneously, so long as they are at a different place on the waterfall. And unlike FLDIGI, where you have to transmit one at a time because it will you'll step on each other's traffic if you are all transmitting at the same place. But you have to be at the exact same place on the waterfall where they are sending for you to decode. With JS8Call, you can have stations spread out across the waterfall, all these messages, all these signals coming in at the same time, and those begin to display individually up here. You'll decode all of them simultaneously. But let's get this set up first. So what you want to do is find a place somewhere between 1900 and 2500 on the waterfall where you're going to park. Let's just make this, let's say 2150. Okay, as soon as you hit QSY, that will move you to 2150 on the waterfall. And you can't see that yet because this display is showing between 100 and 1000 on the waterfall. So you're way off here where you can't see. We're going to change that. Let's go to display. And you're going to start your waterfall at, let's say 1700. There we go. Now you can see that 2150 where you're at the waterfall. See the red? That's where you will transmit if you begin transmitting. So now you've changed your display so that you can see everything from 1750 all the way up to almost 2700. And this is your space right here where JS8Call lives, from there to there. Now, the other thing you can do is see more of your waterfall if you want to by changing the pixels. That's right here. Up there's 2. Now you can see up to 36, almost 4,000, all the way down to 1,000. So we'll keep it at bars per pixel 1. Starting your waterfall at 1700. You don't need to see anything below that because all the activity is taking place right here. Let me go back to control real quick. Okay, that's 2150. Your offset is 2150. That changed to match your QSY frequency. So if you somehow bump and you're off, you can go down here and hit QSY, which simply means change frequency, and it will move you back to your preset of 2150 hertz. Now let's take a look at timing. This shows where you are on your timing, and as you see these stations, let me pull this up for you. This is an actual screenshot of real live activity with multiple stations who have transmitted information. You see these where you got all these ones in a row, and up here and over here. All right, those are stat reps using ComStat, which is the companion program to JS8Call that I will be covering in an upcoming video very soon this week. And that's what those mean. Every one of those is a field in the ComStat stat rep form, and you'll learn more about that. So let's talk about this timing issue. Remember when I said to add the time delta column? That's right here. So I can see this station, that next station, 100, 100, 100. Everybody's 100 milliseconds. There's one that's 300 milliseconds off. Everybody is almost perfectly synchronized with each other. And this time delta will let you know. So if you see all of these stations are 1200 milliseconds off from you, you're drifting. You might have a station that's drifting and everybody else and you are all within 1 to 5 milliseconds from each other, and one guy is showing 1600. You might want to just shoot him a courtesy message. Hey, check your time delta. You seem to be drifting. And that's helpful. We've all received those and sent those, and people appreciate it. But let's go back to the timing setting here. And what we'll do is we'll stretch this out so we can get a better look at it. So this shows how much you've drifted off from your computer's clock, how much you've deviated from your computer's clock. And this can come in handy if you are off by 100 milliseconds, you can change your time drift to minus 100 milliseconds or 500 milliseconds and align yourself back with everyone else. So you can do that manually. You can also automatic time drift so that when you see these signals from other stations transmitting coming down your waterfall and you're not decoding anything because your time delta is moved that far off, this will be blank. You won't be receiving anything. Then what you can do is hit start automatic time drift, and you want it to stop after 1 or 2 or 3 decodes. Normally 1 decode is fine, and click stop. You don't want this to continuously run starting automatic time drift because it uses a lot more of your computer resources while this is running. So once you get synchronized with one of the stations, this will stop automatically. You can also set the time drift, and we'll get into more, we'll show some examples of this. Time drift to right now, that's the minute start. Set time drift to now, transmit end. What that means is when you see a signal and he's not decoding and you see the signal coming down the waterfall, you watch his signal, and as soon as his transmission stops, you're listening and looking, and as soon as you hear and see it stop, you immediately click the set time drift to now at transmit end. Boom. And that will adjust you to his time synchronization. The other thing you can do is hit set time drift to now at transmit start. So there's some activity going on the waterfall. As soon as you find a signal that starts to transmit, you can hear it and you can see it. As soon as you do, hit time drift to now, transmit start, and it will synchronize you to the start of his transmission from the time that you click the button. So you can be fast on the button, but you can still be within a second, 1,000 milliseconds, and decode just fine, and then do fine tuning later. As you get comfortable with this and start using this, you will more of this will become clear to you. And that's a wrap. Now you know how to download and set up and configure JS8Call. Future videos are going to be covering the operations of JS8Call, and then we'll get into ComStat. So be checking back. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, ask any questions that you might have in the comment section, and we'll try to answer those. And somebody in the community might be able to answer if I'm not able to get to it. Otherwise, get your comms up. This is John Jacob Schmidt, out.